impossible situations with very few limited abilities to success. I think when I last left everybody, and correct me if I'm wrong, with realistic knowledge, Ken, not just, subvertive knowledge. You guys had gotten outside of the doctor's location when you discovered that they had begun to surround the bad guys. Had surrounded the location.
Yeah.
And it looked like
Speedy ran away, and it's Syndicate and Goody Two Shoes boy just standing there looking stupid.
Got him right where we want him. I posted in the chat, what I was doing.
Yeah, I did. I just want to make sure you were just punching them and not just random people on the street.
I think one of them was the closest to me, so
let's hope that was the case, because otherwise it's going to be Law and Order Metahuman Division. That guy Beacon went crazy, and he just started punching people, saying supervillain over and over again. So, well, let me refresh for the people who are joining us. You had gone to try it through a process of detection and just background. You found out that Chiller, a villainess who is associated to a group called the Sinister Syndicate, may or may not have access to information about the leadership of the syndicate and the people responsible for not only events that affected a supergroup back in the 60s, but a more recent attack on a commuter train, as well as several other things that are going to be going down, and not in a good way. Had decided to follow her up based on a conversation that Syndicate had with her, that she was going to get treatment from an underworld metahuman doctor, and you did that as Riley, if memory serves. You had decided to go to the doctor's location in question and try to kind of circumvent it, because you'd also discovered that there's been a kill order put on Chiller by her own organization, because they kind of thought, like you did, maybe she's going to tell something that they don't want people to know. You'd arrived just ahead of the supervillains, although there were two supervillains waiting for different things. Once they realized something was going down, they took discretion more than the better part of valor, and they ran. And now you're facing a number of criminals who've shown up on behalf of the Syndicate to try to do harm. And tonight we have Syndicate, and to be clear, when I'm referring to the Syndicate, I'm referring to the villain group called the Sinister Syndicate, not the Player Syndicate. I know that can be confusing, but
sorry.
So when I tell you you're beating up Syndicate, I just want you to know it's not because Beacon's turned evil, although,
Turned? What do you mean turned?
You mean I can't fight myself?
That's later.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, we're not at that point yet where you've got to battle for control of your own psyche.
Nice. Eventually, maybe that might be cool.
Eventually, it might very well, but ironically enough, Scaredevil, who was not present when you left, has caught up with you. And how did you do that, Scaredevil? Did you go to the scene on your own? Were you following their trail?
I was mostly I was just like pretty far behind,
Sure.
But I was seeing them, but I was getting myself ready up and all that.
Absolutely. Well, it takes a little time to put the equipment together. You need to go out. So, I mean,
yeah.
You were all...
As I'm they're taking a pause, I get one of my things ready.
Okay.
I'm going.
You load your weapons. You've got everything done. You've made sure everything's ready for battle. It took you a little bit longer, but I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, the people that were there, you had all had this discussion both at the headquarters of the Distinguished Society, but also where Scaredevil is currently living in the battle basement. I believe that's where everybody was at one time, and then they met but prior to this, they were leaving from there. I will assume just off to the side that y'all probably would have told Scaredevil where you were going or left word for him. Would that be fair to say with everybody?
I
Makes
believe
sense.
we did that. Yes, when he was there, we made
Okay.
our plan, and then he apparently got distracted on his way after we napped.
Too many wheat cakes.
You know what? Wheat cake poisoning is the leading cause of superhero death. They don't want to tell you about this. That old lady is not really somebody's aunt. She's a horrible serial murderer. There have been a lot of
Serial murderers can be people's aunts as well.
They can, but that one specifically actually doesn't have any nephews. She's just crazy and she kills superhumans who vaguely fit a certain profile. Young, could be mistaken for a young guy either played by Tobey Maguire or what's his face or Tom Holland. Any of those people.
What's his face?
I can't remember the one that was between Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland.
Andrew Garfield.
Thank you. I knew he had a cat name, but I didn't want to say it was Heathcliff. That would have been embarrassing. Yes, Andy Garfield. Although I did watch, what was that movie he was just in, the Hacksaw Ridge, and he was pretty good in that.
He's not a bad actor.
No.
Pretty bad written.
We wanted to see the movie he did about being in feudal Japan, or not feudal Japan, but I haven't found it, and frankly, I'm saving my movie watching time to watch Blade Runner again, I guess. All right. So, stepping back, thought had arrived and you'd already sped down the street and come back. Syndicate and Beacon are present and Scaredevil's coming up on the scene. And what you see, if y'all remember...
Coming up on the rear.
Huh?
I'm coming up on the rear.
Yes, you are. You're coming down the street, and what you're looking at is the place that the doctor utilizes or the surgeon utilizes is really like a two-story. I wouldn't say like row house or something similar. It's
Like a little apartment kind of thing, maybe?
yeah, sort of like that. He has they've converted a house to the office. It's on the street in a residential neighborhood, so you have a fairly wide avenue running east to west, a side street running north, and I will even show you a picture once I can bring this up because now I'm having to have my computer do work, and it's hated me all day. So let's see if the hate's finally over. But what you have right now that you have seen is you've seen at least, you've actually seen a speedster, you believe. For us to go any further, I think for the people who are present, because Syndicate, are you still Raleigh at the moment? Because you went in to get her.
You walked out the doors, Riley.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to verify before I said anything else or misspoke. Beacon, you're still sort of hovering around the area. Is that about right?
I believe I was very near this flying, living storm beast.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. It was foolishly approaching me.
If you believe it was foolishly approaching you, then that's what it was doing. Foolishly
That's
approaching.
what Ken believes, not what Beacon believes.
That's true.
Two very different.
You know what? I'm not judging. I really am not. But let's talk about that because there's going to be a moment where we're going to have this kind of conversation. You went over past the heights, and this place is a population center. There are probably families nearby and different things like that. And hot damn, sometimes I can actually hit the damn internet right. Okay. Holy crap. I'm using the interweb. What an excellent oh, now the interweb's quit. Oh, wow! When did they start doing this on the internet?
Bow chicka bow bow.
I knew somebody was going to say something. I knew it.
I'm not sure if we're in game or if we're having Mark commentary right now.
Both. Both. So, what I was saying is it's now at an angle.
Oh, yeah, they did have this.
Yeah, the Google Earth is now added like you can zoom in at an angle. That's kind of
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I can almost give you the location you're fighting in. You're probably closer to over someplace. Yeah, let's get down to a street level. It's not exactly the same place I showed you last time, but it gives you kind of an idea.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably like a house like over here has a walk through and a drop down. You're in an area where you have a street running side to side and a street that's running around.
So it comes to.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I just wanted to let everybody know that what you're looking at is something that should have popped up, which was the guest survey. Apologies for that. So basically what you're seeing is around kind of this kind of location. Thought would be further up on that side of the block. Kind of give you an idea. Look, there's even people. So you've got like a little bit of a straightaway coming up. There are people around, and down that way you see maybe Scaredevil. So really, right about here, you're going to see a guy in a poodle. It's a nice kind of block area where you can get like a good view of things right in here. And that's where you're at as they're beginning to assemble. The storm being is basically descending. The speedster has kind of run off to the side. And I believe that had you seen anyone else at that point? Do you recall?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's good.
The storm person and the speedy.
That sounds right.
That sounds like enough.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's
However-
enough right there.
And you know what, Ken? Because it's you, I'm throwing in 2 more.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
I just didn't want all the extra karma points that I was going to collect for it. But,
Oh,
okay.
no, you don't need to worry about that. I wouldn't worry about the experience points. What you actually are going to see as you're coming in closer, the figure is actually looks like they're kind of one of those weird people that are, for a brief moment, there's maybe a reminiscence of Ark. If you recall, Ark was kind of that light blue and energy kind of sucked into him.
The one that we made first.
Huh? Yes, that's exactly what it was. The person that's flying looks like they're probably, it's a man-shaped, wearing kind of dark clothing, but it looks like it's not your traditional costume. Like maybe somebody watched The Matrix one too many times and said, that makes a great supervillain outfit, Keanu Reeves. The speedster's moving with the blur, but if Thought will make me a dice roll, Thought might be able to precede them because he is a speedster himself.
Oof. 27.
You haven't had a clear chance to kind of break down the idea of the speed differential. So
Right.
you definitely know it's a humanoid. Think maybe a man, moving fairly quickly. Syndicate, as Raleigh, you've gotten her out, but you can definitely tell. I mean, they were telling you that they had to wait till the timer or something, and you can see basically she is not.
But wasn't she being carried by Thought and being carried away?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was Thought's job, was to get her out of there.
You know what? I stand correct. So give me a second, and let's retcon just a moment. Thought you have a near. She's kind of like, hey, you look like you. Whoop. You know, she's not quite herself.
He's had far too many drinks.
She definitely somebody's been drinking.
She comes straight,
Huh?
she comes straight from that supervillain bar?
She came right from the surgeon's lab, and they apparently sedated her for the treatment. And it looks like the sedation, you pulled her right out. I mean, right after they said it was the minimum safe time to pull her out. You were
Yeah.
giving her, so she's still under the effects of sedation.
So is she one of those people that's funny when they're on the sedation?
Hey, she is one of those people that's funny on sedation.
Oh, okay,
Like
okay.
when your wisdom teeth get pulled out.
She's
Right.
speaking, how do you keep bugs from hitting you in the face?
I just dodge out of the way. It's one of the first things I learned.
Okay. I think I'm going to get sick.
Oh God, not in the car.
Not the costume. Not the costume.
Dry cleaning sucks. Dry cleaning sucks. Well, let's talk real quick about the people that are left behind. Because are you at that point leaving them completely? Are you taking her? The plan, I believe, was that you were just going to get her out of the area completely.
Get out of the area, and he was gonna head towards the where the old man is.
Yes, you're going to go to meet Ulysses Darrow back at the Distinguished
That's
Society headquarters. So, let me just clarify this, and then we'll jump in.
We didn't expect him to have a speech.
Nobody expects them to have a speedster, and that's true. It was not one of the things that they, with the Syndicate's wide range of options, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for them, but definitely having another speedster was probably, they wanted to be very quick. However, you do have the advantage that unless they're faster than you still, as long as you don't stop, you've got speed working for you. You got a pretty good head start. Just don't trip. And don't let her throw
Also
up.
a little backup too.
Any of her powers. That just leaves the three of you back at the location with the weather person.
Don't see me yet.
They don't see you yet. At least that person doesn't see you. But Jackson, I need you to make me a dice roll, please.
88.
Being that you have developed your own sense of skills, combat and other, you're able to basically kind of keep. You understand the basic. As Scaredevil, you've had to learn how to do a lot. Being stealthy is one of those skill sets that's necessary if you're going to be hunting people. You think that you have probably gotten in behind without ever being noticed by anyone, which could come in handy very shortly. But you think that you have really the opportunity where you don't believe anyone knows, has seen you or made you, because you've been able to stay kind of in the shadows, moving along the outer streets. You have an advantage, and in fact, we'll just write that down. That right now, when you choose to act, you'll have the ability to make an action without a penalty from cover. Okay?
Yep.
Nice.
Corey and Ken, Beacon and Syndicate. The weather controller has not really come into what we consider to be range, but you can feel their effects and you can get a good look at them. The skies have darkened, the winds have picked up. You're beginning to feel a little kind of like a sheet of rain falling down, and it's cold. It's actually turning into a little bit more of ice, like little pieces of hail. Not enough to do any damage, it's just stinging you in the face at the moment. What do the two of you want? I say we surrender. Okay, cool. You want to surrender? I got it. No.
Come on, good boy. What you gonna do first?
Never give up, never surrender.
Yeah.
So you
You think Riley's a surrender?
Who's closest to me?
right now, if we were to basically look at the point, imagine, if you will. Tell you what. Here we go. I'll actually use the blue marker. On the ground, the person closest to you is Syndicate.
Okay.
Above you is the weather controller, and no one else has emerged from the building.
All right. Can I? Is there anything like perception per se?
There
Where I
is.
can kind of, you know what I mean? Where I can kind of.
Absolutely. Would you
No,
like to make
this
a-
is what's gonna happen. Riley fades and turns into Syndicate because, and we're going to. You don't know who it is, but it's gonna be Ruckus, and he's gonna, with his telepathy, see how many signatures per se he can detect.
Fair enough. Okay. So for this to happen that way, what I need is a percentile dice roll from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't break my. Oh my damn! Really? Oh, that pisses me off.
Have a good day. Good first roll there, gentlemen. You're gonna tell me where everybody is. That's a 96, sir.
Okay, as near as you can tell, and this is within the telepathic range, because I assume you're just going to keep it local. Thoughts
You know,
immediately pick up the thought forms is that there's actually 3 other people nearby.
Then I obviously detect a bunch of non-metahumans per se, or not supers, or whatever.
Yeah. I tell you what, we normally handle this within this game when we run it with the rules is the same thing we do with a lot of others. For the purposes, if you have telepathic abilities and you're using them near Greater Manhattan, I just assume you've learned to filter them out.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
You go crazy.
You go crazier, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not crazy.
Of course, no, I didn't say it. But if you want to enter the van across the street, they'll take you right back to the institute.
Exactly. That's really not an institute. That'll be great.
Oh, it's an institute. It's just not,
Oh, I know. I'm aware now.
Okay. So let me show you basically what the rough idea is, and you can look at that.
That's it.
Every X, the X on top of the building is, we would consider that to be the weather controller.
Uh-huh.
The thought set here and the thought set here, that for all intents and purposes, you know that their process is that they are basically here to take possession of Chiller or kill him. That was what at least the one thought set was. One of the thought sets was, we just have to take possession of him. They weren't told anything about killing him. One of them has actually been told.
Indication of what the other 2 power sets are.
With the 96, I can give you a rough idea what at least one or the weather controller. Obviously, I control the weather.
We're aware of that.
One of the power sets is what looks to be teleporting combat with lots of guns.
Okay.
That's the one that's thinking more along the lines. There's not going to be any real attempt to bring her in. He's here to kill her.
All right. So that person's there to assassinate. Male or female?
The weather controller doesn't really. The one that was not told to kill her, that was just told bring her back in for whatever reason.
Uh-huh.
That person, the best way to describe it is that you believe that they are a mineral body, possibly a fine particulate, i.e., are you familiar with Sandman?
Yeah.
Marvel?
Yeah.
Very much that sort of power set.
Okay.
And with the 96, I'm going to let you have one more thing, and then we'll go back to what you guys are doing. You can either have, with that roll, I can give you the identity of one or the other.
I want the teleporter.
The teleporter is a fellow by the name of Bloodsport.
Okay.
He knows that they've been told to take her in. He knows that they were told to take her in. He was pulled aside personally by their representative and told, disregard what I just said. Make sure she doesn't breathe after today. He specifically was the one given that information. With that being said, Bloodsport's down here on the corner. Weather controller's up here. Mineral body's over here. And down here, let me draw another little tidbit, and then we'll get back to thought while y'all just debate what you want to do. Or you can tell me however you go while I'm doing this.
I mean, literally, the only one I know about is Weather Guy, right?
At
Right.
this moment, unless Syndicate...
Yeah. He would just shout out, there's 2 more. And maybe point in the 2 directions, because I'd be able to do that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And the big purple X is Scaredevil. That's where about you're at.
Okay.
Okay. So thought.
We don't know Scaredevil's there, though.
Nobody knows Scaredevil's there. Scaredevil was crazy.
I'm just hiding on the roof.
He's managed to
I'm
get to
on
the
the roof.
I'm not convinced Scaredevil knows he's there.
Yeah, you know.
Roll was so great.
I'm there.
himself. But let's do this.
Cool.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I said cool.
So let's do this kind of in a weird order. there are actually three groups of actions going on at this moment. Thought, I need a percentile dice roll from you because you are engaged in effectively a foot race. Unlike your opponent, you believe you're probably faster, but you are weighted down because you are carrying a 98-pound girl, maybe 110.
I am certainly way down. She's not helping. She's just kind of going limp. And
She's not helping at all now.
39.
39, and the real problem of it is you are a speedster, but you're not superhumanly strong, right?
Right.
So you've got a woman over your shoulder while you're running down the street, and you're not able to maintain top speed. That would probably be fair,
Sure.
because it's also not aerodynamically sound. Trying to run across the bridge right now in rush hour, not aerodynamically sound. Especially while she's kind of flailing behind you. I really am going to be sick this time. Pull the car over. Pull the car over.
Throw it behind me. It'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll just paint the railroad behind you.
Hopefully it hits the speedster behind me.
Yeah, that'd be good.
No, that's not good. The speed's oh!
Oh, you can slip in it. It hits the road and slips in
You're on the list, Thought. On the list. Now I got to go to the dry cleaner. You had a pretty good start. You got a pretty good head start, and you're really booking as fast as the situation allows. You see the bridge up ahead. You're able to begin the run across the bridge, but you can feel it's kind of weird, and that's mainly maybe due to how your speed works.
Sure.
That kind of weird feeling. It's how you avoid bugs hitting you. Is you kind of get that moment where you feel like the little thing coming in. You feel something moving behind you fairly quickly. Hey, look, there's another guy running after us. Don't worry, I got this. Drunk, super villainous, ice powers behind you. Accuracy's not really intent. But you hit the bridge.
Cue my puke, so.
If that's what she does,
Hit the ground.
Yeah, but it might be really chilly puke.
let's just see how it's going down.
Might put an ice with it. That might be kind of nice.
I would say it's more like it's coming back up, isn't it?
Yeah, you know.
Oh,
That's gross.
No. As I'm running, I feel this person behind me. You said she starts to say that he tells me there's a person behind me?
Yeah, it's like somebody who's like paying attention insofar as like, oh yeah, there's another guy.
So what I'd like to do is just kind of like, as I'm running, just sort of like real quick, like freeze the ground, freeze the ground, freeze the ground, freeze the ground. Behind me, freeze the ground.
All right. You're chanting the freeze the ground, behind me, freeze the ground. Oh yeah, that'd be funny. So let's talk about commuter vehicles on the bridge when that ice just goes everywhere. It just goes everywhere. What I'll need is another roll from you, Thought. Oh, she froze the ground.
Better, 82?
We've all been in a situation, you go out in the middle of an icy spot, you take that first step, and you begin to slide, and you immediately try to correct. Normally, you're not moving at around 150 miles an hour, but you're able to do it. That's why you're from Minnesota.
Right. It's not my first
no
time.
amount of ice. You run through ice all the time. This is actually back like home. It's like, oh yeah, this would be lesser for any lesser speedster. I have treads.
I was feeling nostalgic, and this is nice. I like it. Thank you.
More importantly, all you need now is a broom, and you can go curling down the middle of the bridge. Curling. My apologies. All the fans of curling out there, I don't know what the hell that is. Back at the home style, you have maybe a couple of seconds to plan or do stuff. Beacon, Syndicate, I just assume that you're close enough that you hear Syndicate say there are two more. Teleporter over, and he points over in a direction. Mineral person to your right.
Mm-hmm.
You clearly think that the weather controller is not moving in any closer yet.
Weather control's not yet an issue.
Right. The weather controller seems more to be, if you had to guess from just how you're observing it, they're maybe running they're watching everything, while the other two are kind of trying to close ranks to get to where the surgeon is, along with where Chiller was.
Well, the extent of Beacon's plan at this point is what his plan normally is. He's going to slam as hard and fast into the teleporter guy who looked like he was the closest.
Okay.
With
Well,
him to harm him.
Well, you know what? That's never a bad plan in a lot of ways. I'll be honest with you. It sure beats the hell out of trying to, do other things. So why don't we go ahead and have you do your slam into the teleporter?
All right. Can I get above a 30? A 50-50 chance, I'm sure.
It actually is more like a 30-70 chance.
Yeah, 30-70 chance.
Not when I'm rolling, baby. Go back and look at my history. Oh, hell yeah, 92.
Oh, hell yeah. Nice. What the hell's wrong with you today?
So here's what happens. It's almost like the storm controller was preparing. Now that you got a better look at him, you think he's got almost bleach blonde dyed hair. He's a thin fella. If you didn't know better, and I think to give you a visual, the weather controller probably looks like the singer Sting when he was younger.
Okay. Yeah.
The teleporter looks nothing like that. That guy's wearing like some sort of combat armor and a mask that sort of flips down, almost like a hockey mask. And you fly right into that guy. And that will require another roll, Ken.
Oh, of course it will, you son of a... There we go, 39.
He actually seems to have been twisting when you were flying into him as if some unordinary skill that would warn him of danger had activated without his awareness. We can't call it
Weather senses.
we can't call it an arachnid sense because that would piss off Disney. We'll just say it's some sort of,
Teleporter sense?
we'll call it, what else is a good arachnid?
Greater danger.
Heightened spatial awareness.
I like that so much better, Andy. Heightened spatial awareness.
Preternatural.
It could have been worse. We had to come up with ideas of what other kind of crustaceans and arachnids there were. And I think my friend had lobster sense was the one that got me. And I'm like, so you automatically detect boiling water. I get it. That's perfect. He seemed to have been twisting to kind of avoid the majority of the impact, but you still clipped him solidly. It's just, I wanted to see when you rolled the second part, when you disappear, because he was preparing to teleport when you hit him, you've gone with him a few blocks away.
Okay.
Luckily, your beacon. If it was Scaredevil or Syndicate, we might be making rolls because teleporting isn't always something someone does. You're a physical powerhouse. You don't suffer what we call the Nightcrawler syndrome of retching your guts out from being moved from one place to the other. You're like, ha-ha.
I'm still here.
Yes, you are. And Scaredevil, you're on top of the roof. What you do now is Beacon flew off to the side, and he hit somebody coming out, it looks like in the shadows, and there was a flash of light, and you've got a pretty good view of what's left. Give me another roll there, Scaredevil.
Yep. So is a 9 on the bottom or the top?
What were the two numbers you rolled in which order?
20 and a...
9? It's a 29.
Yeah.
Well, you for the moment have lost track of where the teleporter and beacon went.
Yeah.
Syndicate, and you see this. The best way to describe the person you're seeing is it's a fella dressed roughly like he's wearing orange jump pants and a shirt, but his body looks like it's kind of got almost like a asphalt look to it. It's cracked, and it looks like it's got the kind of the stuff on the side of the road, tarmac or concrete that's been left in the sun for a few years and cracked. He actually seems to come out of the concrete as he's moving towards Syndicate. He's not aware that he has not been spotted, but he's trying to move in on Syndicate. The other two have disappeared from your point, and there's the weather controller. Yeah, you see that Sting-looking guy up in the sky.
Okay, so Syndicate needs to make a choice. Choice is that you see Syndicate meld back into Riley and fire blast directly at the piece of asphalt that he sees in front of her.
Okay, then make a percentile dice roll, please.
All right, let's do this. 72.
You spin around, put your hands up, and let a gout of blasted flame erupt around the fellow. It looks like he's made out of concrete or paving stones or whatever. And for a moment, he throws his hands up like it surprised him. It's clear that he wasn't expecting that. Right. Jesus Christ is what you hear him say as he backs up a little bit. Nobody said they had a fire person.
Yeah, with the thought that when you heat up concrete, asphalt, it starts to melt.
It does. It also begins to smell. And it's a terrible experience. He is backing up from the gout of flame that is emerging from you. And as he does so, he kind of gets a little liquidy and seems to be almost like he's wading back into the street itself.
Right.
From Scaredevil's perspective, you see that happen, Scaredevil. The weather controller takes an interest in this, and you can see the clouds above him begin to change, darken, and begin to kind of form like a tornado.
Yeah, I think I should take a shot at him so he can.
Fair enough. Make another roll there, Scaredevil. So I'm going to take
advantage of this, right?
You're now going to basically make your presence known. Okay.
43.
Well, you have a couple of advantages coming into this.
Mm-hmm.
First advantage is nobody knew where you were. So there's no real ability for this guy to suddenly say, who the hell?
Oh, my God.
He doesn't realize he's about to be shot. Now, the other guy, he's not duking it out, but now I'm going to ask you, with that shot, you were looking to kind of break his concentration. You were looking to wing him. What kind of?
Yeah, I was trying to make him make the wind, trying to make the weather go away.
Absolutely.
For a second.
And
Son,
you were firing your pistols?
I was using my sniper rifle if I had it.
You certainly could. So.
Because then I could get a better shot on him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. However, the .308 sniper rifle does not quite stun him the way you think. It hits him hard.
Yep.
He actually seems to be taken from the impact of when the rifle hit him, and you see him fly up and over. The weather, let's make a roll just to see what the weather does. Weather's dark clouds for a moment continue to swirl this route, but you don't see him at the end of it. On the bridge and heading across the river, we have Thought.
Yeah.
Thought, another percentile dice roll, please, because now she's throwing up and shooting ice.
24.
This is amazing.
She is terribly ill now and motion sick, and her powers are out of her control, but they're not the level they could be. People are not being frozen solid from ambient temperature, specifically you. She's trying to aim at the guy behind you, but it's one of those things where she's doing this, hanging over your shoulder. So there's like this weaving ice capades event happening. Drivers are flipping.
Go ahead, right?
Does whoever was following me eat it?
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
I'm getting to that. That person's now picking up speed. And not only is it's a heat, he's wearing all red. You wear blue, right?
Yeah.
He's wearing red. He has a fire, kind of like the old Speedways looking flames that old drag cars used to have.
Sure.
He's catching up. He looks like he's going to do it. He jumps over the first barricade. He slides over the hood, leaves a nice little polished hood from all that speed coming off of him. He's almost going to get it. He's almost there. He steps in something. He looks down for a split second. He goes flying off the bridge. He slips right on this and keeps on going, and you hear him, Jesus! He doesn't say Jesus. You hear something, but he's moving so quick. that it happens, it's just like, whoa. And you see him fly from where you're at off to the side, like a bad episode of Speed Racer, if you're familiar, when they'd all go off the cliff and then explode like, oh no! It almost feels like that for a moment. Their speedster did not roll very well at all. He made really good to get on the bridge after you. If he'd rolled better, I'd say he'd have a chance to try to grab the girl. Instead, he rolled a 9.
Oof.
Which means you're not a this guy's not a speedster that really could have come back from that.
He's clearly from Phoenix somewhere. Doesn't see ice ever.
He's probably not from anywhere that's ever had snow, rain, or bad. You know, in that one narrow region somewhere in like Southern California, maybe Nevada,
Yeah.
or Arizona.
I was thinking Phoenix.
Phoenix, Scottsdale, Arizona. He may be the biggest supervillain in Scottsdale.
The Scottsdale Speedster. Everyone's heard of him.
Everyone knows that. That guy's definitely dangerous if he has flat open roads, no participation. You do hear the vehicles behind you may be slamming on their brakes, and there's probably a lot of fender benders. The benefit you have,
Spin.
huh?
Turn into the spin.
You would think that, but you're dealing with New York City drivers.
I'm trying to help.
I understand. You got your own problems.
What Beacon does, he helps.
Beacon is going to be helping a lot. Well, the speedster who you didn't quite identify outside the red suit and the racing flames, he hit a bad patch of ice. He skidded right over. He hit the guardrail. He flipped off the bridge. Now, you don't know what happened. But we'll assume that whatever happens, it was not good for him. And you see, if you slow down, you're welcome to her. You can keep moving, but she's still shooting ice behind you.
So I did notice the speedster fly off the edge.
Just like a Speed Racer villain.
All right.
With a 9, you get like the entire speed lines. They zoom in on your face. You got that, oh no, what will I do? Mark 5, hit the button. You know, whole deal. He really screwed up.
Okay, so then as I see the evil speedster flying off the bridge, I will, in sort of the same tone that I was telling her to freeze the ground, stop freezing, stop freezing, stop freezing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I need a message. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I will slow down a little bit,
Sure.
just so I can kind of like solidify my grip on her and like keep her from bouncing around quite so much, maybe.
Well, it's just because she was trying to scramble on your shoulder to get a better view behind you, and then she got extraordinarily motion sick. So try not to pay attention to the line of calamity that's behind you across the bridge. You're able to reestablish a better position, and she passes out shortly after that.
Oh, good.
Perfect.
She just came out of a medical procedure.
That's,
You know, you get what you get. And back amongst the delightful flying folks, Syndicate, are you still continuing as Raleigh to burn the area?
Yeah, you know what I mean. I am very controlled, but you know what I mean. Putting because it looked like it melted. She feels as if this is a good decision, and she is certainly forcing her will with fire onto this other being.
Now make me another personal dice roll.
Yes, sir. Come on, dice. 59.
Something about this kind of sets off as being wrong. And what I mean by wrong, what I'm really saying is that you're I want to put this right. You sunk into the ground, but the ground doesn't look like there's a melted puddle. Instead,
Okay.
you're beginning to see the road underneath you for a good block beginning to rock a little bit, like you're on an ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Halfway through that, you realize that maybe he's not quite
ground. Right. He's on
But-
the ground.
He's clearly moving, like the shark in Jaws. You just don't know where he'll show up until.
Right. All right, so you know what I mean. She obviously wouldn't keep burning that spot. Doesn't make any sense. So you know she would pull that kind of move where you're kind of tracking the ground, because if you can see, I don't see a fin, obviously, but I see. Do I see like a track per se?
With what you rolled, what I'll say is this: you have a pretty good idea that he's here nearby.
Okay.
He may be moving to get a better position on you. He may be moving to try to get a better position to where they think Chiller is.
Right. No, I gotcha.
As your rally at the moment, I can't tell you more than that.
Right. At the end of my turn, per se, can she dissipate and turn back into Syndicate?
Yeah, at the end of your turn, that'd be great.
Okay.
I don't think that's a problem. You just have to kind of give yourself a few seconds to get back.
Yeah. Right.
Meanwhile,
and for the next turn, it will be Justice in telekinetic.
Okay. Ooh. Meanwhile, you had a hold of this guy, but my understanding, Beacon, is that you are not a trained hand-to-hand combatant. You're a big guy that goes around punching.
I mean, I've got basic hand-to-hand training, but I'm certainly not a martial artist or a wrestler.
Right.
You know, I know how to punch and block a punch, and that's about it.
Well, this guy has been highly trained, and you have a hold of him, but he is, despite your strength, remaining slightly wily to keep a good hold on, and he's
slippery.
Very slippery. He's actually putting something onto his fists. Looks like maybe a
Tiger claw?
block like brass knuckles, but not quite.
Well, I think in my extensive experience, the best way to deal with this is if you knock them out, then their shit don't work.
You know what? That is a perfectly cromulent experience. You're welcome to do your best.
Well, meaning that's what Beacon does at this point in his life. That's what we're doing.
Absolutely. And how would you like to knock this fellow out?
All right, so I'd like to have the one hand maintain a grasp on him.
Okay.
While the other hand smashes him, in the snout.
Okay. So what we're going to need here for the mechanics and the kids at home is that this is what we'd normally use in the game mechanics, which eventually, when I have time and craziness, we'll go over more detail, would be a fighting feat. Because
Right.
you're really not trying to hit. You got to keep a hold on him, which you're going to be resisting while you're going in to punch him. So go ahead and take your several dice roll there, kid.
Yeah. My usual, 37.
And there go the dice. Hold on a second.
Oh, I win.
I win.
That's the win. That's in the new rules.
Okay, great. So every time you drop your dice, I automatically win.
If I ever drop them, yeah.
Well, by dropping them, we'll interpret the new rule to say whenever you pick them up and put them down.
I don't actually do that. I just make up numbers.
Well, now we know, and knowing's half the battle. The other half is preparation, supplies, manpower, training.
Clearly
I don't know why that's on the floor, so.
you can clearly tell by tracking my rolls that I'm just making shit up.
You know what? It's clear and it's absolutely fine. If it's okay, I'll just do the same from now on. No, but seriously, you're having a hard time getting that punch in. He's clearly able to use his fighting must be higher. Maybe that's good or bad, but what it is he's not actually. Some villains like to talk while they're working. This guy's not saying a word to you. He's just at this point trying to keep you from punching him with the strength of 1,000 suns.
Right. I'm not talking to him either. Well, you know what? I will talk to him a little bit. I'll say something menacing. You're going down, bad guy.
That's it.
I gotta go get my Captain America tray now. Ken's actually forced me to break out the tray.
See how much I startled Mark with that killer.
Ooh.
I would have said something very different.
Actually looks at you and says, "This, you're still new at this, aren't you?"
I'll just kind of smile and nod, but on the inside, starting to get a little nervous. On
Well,
the inside. Karate man get nervous on the inside.
you know what? You basically show that stony heroic and dun da da, and in the inside you're going, okay, I went to the bathroom before the battle. Okay, I'm good. I think I had mints. I'm all right. I'm okay. He's not going to say anything bad to me, right? He must be new.
Can't soil myself. Dry cleaning bills.
We never do that in this game. You know why? Because that's just disgusting. Frankly, superheroes. If that was the case, then every time Batman was grabbed by his cape and swung around by Superman, he'd probably, But he's a billionaire. He's okay. He's a billionaire. Alfred, I need you to go dress up as Batman and fight Superman for me. Master Wayne, you got to do whatever I say. I'm rich. All right. It's just my belief of Batman. Hey, how much is that guy paying you? I'm a billionaire. Work for me and I'll pay you 3 times as much. Beat that guy up. It's only sad until you realize that's exactly what he did once. I heard my phone. Where the hell's my phone? Phone! Okay, Google now. Aha. I knew I'd find you, phone. Trying to hide from me and do things. Okay.
Go phone. It's your birthday.
Yeah, I already fed the cats. Okay. So, getting back to it, Beacon looks like he's not nervous at all.
But inside he is.
Inside he's shitting a brick.
Syndicate's in the process of moving in from Raleigh to Justice. Ruckus. My apologies. Or is it Justice?
Oh, yeah. From Riley to Justice.
Okay, I thought that was me, kind of. I've forgotten which one, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Scaredevil.
Yo.
That guy, he disappeared. The clouds are beginning to disperse. Almost everyone in the area heard that shot go off.
Mm-hmm. It's a big round too.
It is, and you don't actually hear it at first. You hear it a couple of seconds after they fire. So most everyone on the street has heard this, but again, when you were arriving, most people had cleared off.
Yeah. So is anybody keep my group is near me?
You can still see Syndicate. Syndicate was the girl, and now changing forms.
Yep.
You don't see the weather controller at the moment. I wish he would
Do I
have
see
seen you.
Thought?
No, Thought ran off.
Well, do I know like during the general direction of where Thought went?
No.
Yeah, he was going to take the girl and go back to where you met this old man who was telling you all the stuff that had happened.
Mm-hmm.
Thought
And I want to like pack up the sniper rifle and try to head that way with trying to meet up with Thought.
Absolutely. You break it down very quickly. You get off the top of the roof. And had we determined how you move around the city yet? Do you have like your own transportation? Do you take the bus?
You mostly likes going by the like doing a lot of parkour through the roofs.
Okay, that works. You begin to basically run across the roofs.
Mm-hmm.
And as you do so, you begin to realize that whatever's happening down below, you probably think that Syndicate has it.
Yeah.
Because without the weather controller, you still haven't seen Beacon and the other fella. You might see them on the way. In fact, why don't you make me a roll?
Um, 34.
You don't spot them immediately, but you're heading actually away from where they would probably be, so that's perfectly understandable.
Yeah. I just me when I'm just trying to see where mostly like the help is more needed.
Absolutely, you're giving him support. You're going to go support. Makes perfect sense.
And as he's doing that, as he's like jumping through the roofs, he's like checking his guns, like see if he has ammo.
Sure.
As
You want to make sure you're prepared for whatever may lay ahead. As the GM said, laughing. So, Thought within less than 2 minutes, you covered the distance necessary, and I assume you didn't. Were you going straight there, or were you going to try to?
Once I lost the other speedster,
Yeah,
I just wanted to get there and then get back and see if I could help out.
absolutely. When you get to the location in question, you'll be probably getting there in a few seconds because you got to go in and then down and then over and drop her off and
Right.
stay a couple of seconds, turn around.
Leave a handwritten note.
He's great. Yeah, maybe have a power bar, a couple of Monster energy drinks, take a nap, read a few more chapters in that book you were looking at. It's all at super speed, so you've got like a lot of time. It's that scene from Megamind where he's flying around in the second where the beam's coming and he's just he reads all the books, eats French fries.
Rediscovering you, yeah.
Yeah. Mighty Man was killed that day and Music Man was born. I took my nephew to see that movie and I was like, never bring up superheroes like this again. Music Man truly is atrocity. With that being said, I would say that we'll probably then move back to Syndicate. You transformed. Ironically enough, as he says, grabbing his dice, the ground has stopped moving the way it was. So you've now changed into Justice.
Right. You want me to tell you what my plan is?
Tell me your fiendish plan.
Okay. So as soon as I see anything emerge from the ground, I want to put like a telekinetic press per se.
Okay.
Stop it from coming through the ground.
So you're
See what I'm saying?
going to try to prevent something from coming up out of the ground.
Yes. And with a telekinetic force field type idea.
Yep.
See what I'm saying?
I understand exactly what you're saying. You want to kind of...
so if I can hold it into the ground, it can't come get me.
Hey, you know what? There's nothing wrong with the idea of, like, let's make sure that it can't come out and pull me under the earth. That would kind of suck.
Exactly.
And you know what? If you didn't have claustrophobia...
It would be really bad.
You might be developing... There's a game mechanic called Fate, where you can get aspects... What the things about your character. It's a great system, but I've seen people get, like, the GM then will assign occasionally aspects to you based on your actions and activities. And we had someone that was not afraid of spiders before he fell into an entire, like, pit of spiders. Now it's like spiders, lint.
Arachnophobia.
You instantly develop arachnophobia. Well, I don't think I instantly. Even if they're little plastic spiders.
Yep.
So, all right. What I'll need from you is going to be two things.
Okay.
Roll. We're going to first see if you can perceive. You're paying attention, but people are sneaky. You never know. You might get that weird moment in movies where they don't quite pay attention at the critical moment, and then the alien comes up out of the ground.
Yep. All right, so we'll go with that one first.
That'll be excellent.
That is a 94.
Yeah, you are fairly certain that if the alien was to emerge out of the earth and try to grab you, you would be about 5 feet away, firing on it, on the dummy that you made to look just like yourself. You're fairly certain at this point, Justice, that if he emerges from the earth, you'll be able to act before him.
Okay.
That being the case, you wait for a few tense seconds while you're waiting for it to kind of happen, and nothing immediately happens. In fact, as you're watching, the ground kind of decides to take on a different... It's not as rocky or as wrong. In fact, what looks to be the case is that the ground maybe around the building has changed. The ground near you has gone back to its normal state.
Okay.
If you pay attention for a few moments, you can see that the around where you would normally have the earth, the street itself, which was rocking and rolling, it's gone flat. But behind the building, you can see like a light pole shift its location slightly. Back where the surgeon's back door was.
Right. Not very interested in what's going on with the surgeon's back door. I don't care. I am going to. With keeping okay, so I've seen that happen, so I kind of know and have a feeling I know where he might be.
Yes.
With keeping intent on that area, I would like to start making my way as well away from the scene.
Okay.
And we kind of established that I can move kind of with that telekinetic.
Yes, you can ride the telekinetic wave.
Yeah. So, I start to do that and, getting the hell out of Dodge. Back towards where good old Mr. Darrow
Right.
has his cool building.
You begin to basically evacuate the scene. And that just
we gotta go.
Leaves with Beacon. Beacon, you've been trying to. This guy is as slippery as a barrel full of eels, and he's now managed to put the other metal thing on his hands.
Yeah.
Well, you're new at this. Still, I don't think I have to go easy on you. So you want to try to punch him still?
Let's see. Game wise, I mean, what are my other options? I mean, I guess I
You could go for a throw.
grab him, but I suck at that. What was that?
You could go for a throw, which is not necessarily an agility feat or a fighting feat. It becomes more of an idea that you have kind of a partial hold on him now, but not enough to really cement what we normally call the swinging for the bases, where you'd be able to hold the guy and punch him.
Right.
Not like one of these parts where you're grabbing at him still, and occasionally you contact claw. You can try to throw him. You could get distance on him if you have another attack. You could just try to power it on and ignore. If you're willing to go what they call all in, if he's got an action plan, he will get that action on you, but it would secure a more solid hit.
Did you say something about if I had another attack?
Another kind of attack, yeah.
Oh.
Like you have the ability to shoot lasers out of your eyes.
No. Well, that would be broken.
Only if you go back in time to save Lois Lane.
Exactly. I'll do this all-in thing. I'll try to wallop him.
Okay, so what I need from you is going to be a personal dice roll with the idea that you're going to take whatever attack he's got planned for you.
And I need low. Is that right?
You want high.
I need low. Isn't that right?
No, you need high.
Low. Isn't that right? 17.
Ken, I'm going to buy you some new dice.
The dice make no difference.
But I'm going to have these dice blessed.
That might help.
I'm going to get
Try these other dice.
roll priest.
Well, I got a 38 on my other dice.
You know what? You're doing better. You're doing better. All right. With the all-in, you just reach forward. Like, I don't care what he does. How bad can it go for me? You wheel back and you do the classic punch. You let it go as you hit him, right?
Right.
He goes flying over the building. You're Beacon. You're not a weakling. You send him over the building. He goes over a 3-story building and he keeps going until he disappears, maybe in the fading light of the afternoon. Might glint off something, or he teleported. You hit him. That's got to feel rewarding. You also notice you've got these little red things on your uniform that are blinking now. They seem to be blinking faster.
Like when I watch Predator? Or are they?
Well, these look like they're little. They look like they're blocks that you saw him put over his hands. And
right.
If you hit him, they must have come loose. They're stuck to your suit or something.
Oh, so I broke his thing. Good.
Absolutely. They blink much faster, and then the next thing you know, you're flying as well, but not under your own weight. We established the Beacon was physically tough. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I need another roll from you.
All right. Why are you being mean to me, Mark?
How
about a 12?
Okay. I'm not being mean to you. Your dice are mean.
You're making me roll the dice, which is being mean.
You know what? I enjoy it. Will you collect your tears in a bottle for me so we can drink them? Your sad tears of that misery and pain. Syndicate, you're leaving the area when you hear an explosion. Scarecrow, you're still close enough. You hear an explosion.
Scaredevil, not Scarecrow.
Daredevil. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Scaredevil. I will break myself of this if I will find a way. I'll keep trying to kill Beacon until I get it right. How's
I'm going
that?
to say, every time you get it wrong, Beacon gets free rerolls.
Haha.
Or even better, Beacon gets to choose to take the number he rolls or the converse of that number.
I'll make you an agreement, Ken. You could just take what you roll or what I roll.
I'll take that. Done. In my baseball league, a couple years ago, my rolling was so bad that I asked the rules committee if it was okay for me to never touch the dice. And when I had a home game, the opponent could roll every single die roll that was needed for the whole game. And I did that.
Holy crap.
And how did that work out for you?
It still sucked because my team was horrible that year. But at least I didn't have to touch the dice.
There you go.
So anyhow, go ahead.
I was just going to say,
You know, so
Go ahead with your
I did hear.
no, trust me, I understand that feeling. Whenever I had to pick fantasy football, invariably I would have like a lineup I thought was cool. See, week two, everybody would be injured, or like he's permanently been he's been hurt so bad he'll never play the game again. And I was like, yeah.
Oh,
Well,
so you're the
that's
guy that made all the
also
guys
bad.
get hurt. Thanks. Thanks,
In
Rocker.
that case, you just choose players from teams that you hate.
I tried, but you know, I one year we did something similar. This is back in the early '90s. I kept on picking apparently players who were part of the Houston Oilers. Warren Moon, who was the old quarterback, right about the time Warren Moon decided to announce kind of unceremoniously he was going to retire, I picked him as my starting quarterback. And I'm like, he's retiring tomorrow! Yay! It's this. So what happens is you guys hear an explosion that rocks the immediate area. Windows probably get blown out. It definitely has an effect. I mean, the police were already headed this way, you think, but that definitely will draw their attention. Give me a 1d10 roll, Scaredevil and Syndicate. And Syndicate, for the purposes of the conversation, you're Syndicate right now?
Right.
Okay. So just roll a
Using,
d10.
I mean, using Justice's power of travel.
Gotcha. I understand.
Mhm.
So I just
Oh my God.
That's beautiful.
What'd you roll?
1.
Perfect.
6.
6. Okay. Ken, roll a d10.
Is that me?
Yes. Beacon, roll a d10.
Now you expect to roll a die just for the hell of it now, asshole.
Mhm.
2! Yes!
Well, that's all right. I got the 1.
What'd you get, Ken?
2!
2. Nearby where you're traveling, Justice, you see something that at first you thought may have been like a missile, and then you realize it's the form of Beacon falling out of the sky toward the street. He doesn't seem to be fully aware.
Okay. How far away from him am I?
Not very far at all. Like you
Not
would
far
almost
enough.
be right next to him.
How quickly do I think he's going to impact the ground?
He's moving pretty quick, but you might be able to kind of snag him before he hits.
All right. So because I'm Justice, can I use telekinetics to try to snag him?
Absolutely. Make that roll.
Let's do it. All right. Let's not get a Ken roll.
Can roll.
And I
He's
did
right.
not, because I did 74.
Right about the
Dang.
time that you see Beacon, who's slightly unconscious, about to hit the ground, you don't think it's going to hurt Beacon, but he's actually smoking from something. It doesn't look like it's hurt him. It just looks like it maybe knocked him for a loop.
Yeah,
You
goofy.
stop him from hitting the ground, and you have a hold of him. Are you still moving to travel?
I moved to him and check on his situation.
He is unconscious, which is rare. He got hit hard
Yeah.
enough by something that should have killed him.
I slapped the taste out of his mouth to try to wake him up.
You're gonna need a little bit more than that.
All right.
Slap the what out of my mouth?
You don't taste anymore.
Okay.
Syndicate is not a big dude. You know what I mean? Like, I guess.
Damn on fire!
You can actually carry him with your telekinesis while you move.
Okay. So I get up and start moving.
Very good. You begin to
Now do I? All right. Now do I see? Have I seen Scaredevil yet?
You have not. Scaredevil's very
I start taking a more covert
sure.
path back there, so that I, this isn't the first time Syndicate's been around the block. You know, he knows because of that big noise, the big huge gunshot noise that we knew I know who that was.
Sure.
The fuzz is going to start looking around, and if strangely a little dude is carrying looks like a big dude, you know what I mean?
Sure.
It's going to look kind of strange, and two supers are definitely doing something.
You can stay out of the general limelight, if you will. You begin to move with him. Beacon, after a couple of seconds, you actually begin to come to. Like I said, it was just more for you. It was just like, God, that was golly, just a stunning effect. For anybody else, they would be probably missing their torso and upper body.
Not me.
Hey, buddy.
Where is
How
he?
was that?
You see him?
Speaking.
Where is he?
Talking to you.
Right. Where is he?
Who? Wait, the teleporter?
Yeah.
I don't know. You were the last one. The last thing I saw was you disappear with him. Are you okay?
I don't know, Mark. Do I think I'm okay?
You ache, but you don't. Nothing seems to be broken.
I ate, but nothing seems to be broken, and I'll take to the air if I can.
Yeah. So
Start
I
a
let
little
go of the
shakily at first, only because it's like one of those things where you took the hit. But yeah, after a second, you're able to take to the air without a problem.
Right. So I let go of the telekinesis and focus all of my concentration on the telekinesis now, so I can probably move faster. Right.
Yeah. If you're not dragging him, you can definitely go a little bit quicker. And what happens for all of you is that as you're about to turn around and head back, Thought, because you had to get her secured, Mr. Darrow was there waiting. He helped you, showed you where to take her. When you're turning around to come back, it's kind of odd because when you turn around, there's Scaredevil standing in the hallway.
I'm just like, what's up?
How'd you get here so quick?
I have my ways.
Is it the bus? Train.
No.
Are you a speedster too?
I'm not a speedster.
Well, no one's perfect.
I've been using the rubes.
And still, that's really, really impressive. But where's everyone else?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do they need help?
I think they're coming. Last time I heard.
Well, yeah, you heard this loud bang, like an explosion,
Yeah.
but Mr. Darrow remains for a few moments as they have Chiller at a table. And one of the things that they have is that Chiller is effectively, she's gone unconscious again, but it's not because she's like unable to be roused. It's more like she's had a long day. About 10 minutes as you're about to, less than that, 10 minutes after that fact, Beacon and Syndicate arrive. Maybe 20.
Can I try to hide somewhere very fast?
Well, everyone in the room knows where you are.
Dang it! I should.
Before we get into the building,
Yeah.
I would like to stop out in front. I take a moment and I change and I move to Ruckus for a moment, and I would like to see if I can perceive again.
make a dice roll.
Thank you.
Now, for my purposes, you're just trying to reach out to see if anybody followed you or
Right.
hostile thoughts.
Absolutely. I'm going to see if any of the entities that I've felt before are have followed us. Because I wouldn't know the speedster. But that sounds like he hit hard.
I can honestly tell you, thought basically can tell you that if he's following you after that he's more dangerous than you realize, because he went off the bridge.
If it's, hey, Mark, if it's going to have been like 10, 20 minutes, I would have gone back looking for them.
Sure.
After like 5.
Yeah, and I would say that you would be able to spot Beacon flying back.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect you to stay put, so to speak.
Okay, so if they're flying and I see them flying, yeah, I would have just gone back and waited for them. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. I got a 49 again.
You're fairly certain that none of the people you've encountered at this point have found their way back to you, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You're fairly certain that you've been able to kind of cover your trail enough, or at least even with Beacon flying, Beacon is still not somebody that they can track as easily.
Okay.
He was like flying like low and all that.
Well, that's up to Beacon. How are you flying back? Beacon?
You're asking me?
Yes.
I misunderstood.
Like, were you keeping close to the ground, flying back to the headquarters? Were you headed back to the headquarters?
I'm going to make a roll. Holy cow.
You rolled
Above 50. I kind of, knowing that these folks could be peeking at us, I try to be a little, to the best of my ability, not obvious where I'm going.
Sure. You basically take a circuitous. Can't talk.
Circuitous. I serpentine a lot.
Yes, you do. Okay.
And, if they're like wooded patches, I might zip through there for a minute.
Well, you are near a fairly wooded area. And I can tell you with certainty that if anybody was following you or Syndicate as Ruckus, nobody truly seems to be nearby that knows your business, who you can detect. Now, you know that when you've been in the building, it's hard to reach out. But before you even get to the building, there may be people nearby, but they're nearby for other reasons. They're not here for you. They're just either people that are moving around up above for other reasons, or maybe whatever, we got to drop this truck off, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, I look for anybody that obviously is following me, but there's a point, there's a point at which
Not a problem.
Cool.
Well, the 4 of you managed to make it back down to Ulysses, the laboratory level of the old Distinguished Society secret headquarters, the Sanctum. And the gentleman in question, Ulysses Darrow, actually will meet you. In the case of Thought pretty much, he showed exactly where the lab was, and then Scaredevil was there. You'll actually be able to be shown down to where Ulysses Darrow is, and you see the slightly unconscious form of Chile. She's been
I like
picked
it.
up,
Thank you.
and he has little, I'd say about the size of, do I have anything like here that's not that size? There's so much crap around here right now, probably. Yeah. It's not about that big, like on her forehead and over probably out here. And they're beeping a little bit. Well, how bad was it?
We took care of what we needed to take care of.
Yes, the mission wasn't so bad. Had our mission been otherwise, might have gone worse.
So, you know of a villain named Bloodsport?
Darrow actually takes a little bit where his brow furrows. I've heard of it, yes.
Well, he was there along with a weather
dude.
and guy melted into the earth. I don't know. What followed you, Thought? He's actually not in front of his camera.
It's all right. Darrow actually speaks up. Mean Streak. Mean Streak is a southwestern speedster. He went flying off the George Washington while pursuing thought.
It must have been very hilarious seeing that.
I don't know yet, but they fished him out of the river. He's not going to be running anywhere for a little while. In fact, if they would hire Bloodsport on this, that gives me a moment to think. If you say it was this fellow, I think that was probably a villain called Stormlord. He's probably not going to be so easy to work with right now, and I think that the fellow you're discussing could be one of two. I lean to believe that it's a villain called Tarmac.
He looked like asphalt at one point.
That sounds more like Tarmac than Silicate. Silicate's a little more dangerous and doubtful. Did Tarmac actually appear? He did, from what you're saying.
No, he appeared. He seemed to have not a lot of nerve. As soon as I blasted him with fire, he's bugged out.
Either that, or he was much more interested in accomplishing the goal. He may have realized that the fight was not the goal, and opted to continue with what he was told to do. Very much a forward thinker in the respect that he's there for what he's been told to accomplish. And if they told him to get Chiller, he probably went around to do that, while Stormlord and Bloodsport were to do whatever they were to do.
But they did not.
No. Of all four of them, Bloodsport was the most dangerous.
I took over the Storm dude easily.
Well, I doubt he's going to let you get that kind of shot on him again. Excellent work.
Thanks.
Miss Chiller here is not woken up yet, but her body's undergone a fairly decent amount of treatment and shock. It'll take a little while. I figure we could get some coffee if you'd like. Talk about this.
We might have somebody already doing that. Or we could somebody doing that.
I'm sorry?
We could have somebody doing that for us already.
Getting coffee?
I was going to say dog, but...
Well, I thought we should let Miss Chiller have a few moments to rest.
Yeah.
If I could talk to you out here, I think it would be best.
Mm-hmm.
Is she conscious, sir?
Huh?
Is she conscious?
No.
Riley's very concerned.
No, but she's fine. I ran some preliminary tests. She's just unconscious. I figure the best way to do is to bring her out naturally before we discuss options.
Well, what she's very concerned about is, are you going to take her powers away from her?
I think that Miss Chiller's abilities are killing her. I think that if we can find a way to come to a happy compromise and she's willing to answer for the crimes she's committed, I think that that would be really determinant on the situation. I have to be fair, as I told you before we went and got her. I have the best chance of giving her adequate long-term treatment, but I'll be fair with you. My goal isn't at this moment to take away her abilities. My goal right now is to stabilize her condition so that she has a fighting chance to survive her powers.
Yes, her survival is obviously already.
Well,
Imperative in finding out how we're going to rectify the situation there.
yes. Well, we're in that position right now where
I want you to understand something. I have to make decisions right now, but what's best for the family.
holy crap, what's that?
I don't know what that is.
Distracting.
Obviously, Beacon was playing with one of the monitors.
Please don't touch that monitor, sir.
Apologies, I was trying to see the score of the baseball game my Dodgers are playing.
Yeah.
No need for that.
1-0 Dodgers.
We're aware.
You're aware, I was not. Okay, sorry. Please continue. I'm giving you 100% attention.
So, Um, Mr. Darrow moves basically back to check some things, and he hits a couple of buttons on his handheld device. We can step out here, give her a little bit of time to recover, and I can begin to look and see what our options really are for her. So let's talk very quietly and carefully. The syndicate now will know that you're not their allies, and it's not accidental. That will be a dangerous term, a dangerous situation. So with that being said, you understand that you're put at risk if the syndicate, if what I believe is true, then that risk will just double the longer you become involved in these situations. I want you to know that before we go any further. I feel like you deserve that.
Do we have your backing? Because we seem to have the backing of the blah, 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 whoever that guy was again.
I'm not sure how much he's going to honestly give you. Michael Deckard tends to operate at a point, but I think that if he feels that you're capable, I will certainly help with whatever I can. I can't help but tell you that I feel that we're responsible for some of this. I don't think we cleaned our messes up very well, but it was a bad time for all of us. But if you follow this path, and I just want you to know that while I'm personally appreciative for your help so far, from this point on, it's going to get a little bit worse. And more importantly, I don't want you to be surprised. I don't want to take you by surprise. Does that make sense?
Yes. I appreciate
Is there
that.
anything I forget worse before it gets better? It usually does, sir.
I think that the only answers are the fact that this young girl probably will provide a key bit of information. And I have to admit, I'm a fairly astute fella. I've been around the block a few times. What I'm telling you has no scientific basis. It's just a gut feeling. That's all it is. I think this is tied directly to us. And I think that with Ransom being involved, with all of the things that we've already uncovered, I honestly feel that this is probably related to all of us.
Us in this room, or us?
The society. I'm the distinguished society. My apologies. However, I don't believe in coincidence. I've been alive for a very long time, and I don't think coincidence truly exists. I think you were meant to be here now. Whatever you want to call it, karma, fate, what have you. You're
Causality.
Huh?
Causality.
If you wish.
So you're saying that we're part of the society now?
Well, there's not really a society anymore to be part of, but
I don't think we've earned that right just yet, Syndicate. Perhaps one day.
I don't know if there's a right to be had. He actually puts his hand on one of the tables. We didn't really live up to our ideals in the end.
But maybe we could be the new society.
Well, and he stops and looks off for a moment. Maybe what happened, what we did, was not the right way to go. Maybe we should have stayed and fought for those ideals. Maybe if we'd done that, people wouldn't have gotten hurt. We wouldn't have felt that our time had been over. Maybe things would have been different. I don't know. I do know things happen for reasons. I know that you were on that train or around it when Ark attacked. And I know that Jack Ransom didn't come back to the city just to revisit old things. Maybe it's time for us to start cleaning up those messes. You have shown, all of you, to be very capable. I wouldn't want to impose on you. But if you are interested and you want to see this through, I might be able to point you into what we should do next. And maybe it'll answer some of the questions you have about what's happened to you. And maybe we can help each other. Would that be something that you would be interested in?
Is it going to be something that's going to have some sort of, lasting impact? Is it just setting right some bad deeds you've done, or some setting right the balance from the past? What are we talking about? I mean, I'm here to do some good.
I think that where we failed was we forgot, or was taken from us, the ability to do the greater good. I personally believed my entire life that the idea that a single person can make the difference for the entire fate of mankind. Everybody who stands against the darkness has a better chance of lighting up everything. And I believe that. I may be old and sentimental, but I do believe that.
I blush.
I think it's not a bad idea. What I'm thinking is that all of this is happening now, which means while there are greater powers that can be brought to bear, it's not the powers that have been brought to bear. It's the people in this room. So yes, it's about doing more. It's about doing good. It's about not just undoing the damage of the past that was caused, but maybe stopping something else before it becomes worse. Maybe putting together a path to do the right thing. Be that example that we were. And not only that, but we can help. I can help.
What do you think of that, Scaredevil?
I'm just trying to think of all this right now. So you think we should be we should try to make a group or something?
I think we already are a group a bit there, Scaredevil.
I think
Yep.
if you
It's not
trust somebody
a
with your
big-
life, it profoundly changes the relationship you have.
Mm-hmm. Like we have each other's backs.
And what I could offer you, besides this, is quite a bit more.
What do you think, guys? Just asking.
I don't think that what he's asking is something that you need to offer anything for. I think it's something that, we should do because it's the thing that needs to be done.
And it's the right thing to do.
Not that I would reject whatever support. But that's not the reason for doing it.
Fedor Sandoval and I used to debate the reason a person chooses to do the right thing. And he was a good scientist, the smartest man I've ever known. And he said something that I've always held too. You should do the best thing, but having help never hurts.
Absolutely.
What I'm offering isn't, I'm not offering a bribe. I'm not offering, you don't have to do it for this reason. But you've proven that you're willing to do the right thing, and I'm willing to support that. For a long time, I think a number of us lost our way. Even in this day and age, there's still a call for people that are willing to do the right thing. There's a need. And we've already shown that the Sinister Syndicate, they're involved in something that we never really realized what it was. They're willing to sin. They're willing to sacrifice their members
Identity.
for
Identity.
They're willing to basically not only that, but they're willing to sacrifice members to long-term incarceration to silence people that may even have an inkling. It's very possible that girl doesn't know anything and they were willing to kill her. And she was a member of them.
But there's also a possibility that she knows very, very inner workings of this society.
Very possible.
And the syndicate, it's a syndicate. It's so weird to say that about myself. But anyways,
You know more too.
And it's also, and very forcibly, the girl shows up. But it's also really possible that she may join us.
Well, young miss, I tell you that she'll have to actually probably work with the people that are going to have to determine if she can be rehabilitated. And in that case, there would have to be at least some prohibitive actions. Schiller never killed anyone. She has committed crimes.
I
She'll
understand that.
if she's willing to answer for them, goes a long way. I'll work however I can.
But
Maybe
maybe
we could recruit a squad of criminals to fight for them.
awful idea, sir.
That never turns out well. There is a program in the government which offers rehabilitative work for metacriminals who are deserving of it. I've already.
Okay, I can't help but think this. I can't help but think that if she helped us know the inner workings, if she does, and then she helps us combat against them, that her crimes could be excused.
Well,
I don't know that it's the time for that discussion. Let's.
I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll tell you what we'll do. Miss Rowley, is it?
Yes, sir.
I will work as hard as I can. You have my word that I will use what resources and contacts I have to help this girl. If she's willing to basically seek help. I can't force her to do it.
She's a good person, sir.
Well, we'll see. But we'll do what we can.
And then she fades. And it looks like.
It's all I can offer because I wouldn't want to speak for the government or different law enforcement agents. It's doubtful we're going to flush Jack Ransom out into the open. It's doubtful that the syndicate's going to try to attack when they don't know where to go. But you've placed yourself solidly within the crosshairs. So we should start with something that will probably come in handy. He goes and gets a box, and he flips through the box. It looks like it has like doodads and items in it and things like that. And he seems to be looking for something in particular. I know it was in here. We put a whole box of them in here. Bear with me a moment. He puts a small device that's about the size of a small egg, but flattened. It has like a little thumbprint. You recognize that as one of the items that was slipped into one of the pockets, one of your pockets. And there's at least 4 or 5 of them in here. Here they are. And he begins handing them out. Gives them, if you're interested. I'm not going to force you to take one.
What is it?
Well, Dr. Fedor Sandoval built these in 1952.
So it's vintage.
Well, you'd be surprised how vintage it is. It's still pretty spiffy. We used to use them to communicate with one another.
That would have come in handy today.
Well, I didn't know where they were. I have to be fair. I haven't been in here since 1981. Recently, and I returned.
So are we gonna be like gonna be here for now and like stay here and all that?
You mean this is going to be our home base, that's good, Evo?
Yeah.
I don't see a reason why you couldn't use it.
I think it's much better than that old lady's home.
Yeah, and I'm done with the wheat cakes. They tasted horrible.
So do we need staff? I'm sure she would be willing to.
No, I don't want to be that woman anymore.
I can't believe you'd say that after all those wheat cakes she made for you.
They're terrible, man.
None of them appear to have been poisoned.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still alive.
It's long term.
I mean, I thought they were pretty tasty.
Yeah, you put enough syrup on them, they're great.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have a lot of syrup.
Yeah, if you don't put any syrup on it, it's horrible.
Right.
No, that's good, Evo.
And then you just see him rip off his mask. He's like,
Oh, you're an ugly bastard.
Can we see/hear Chiller from where we are?
Yeah, he's got like a little thing that's set up that he's watching and reading, and it's giving him a feed out.
Has she come too?
Not yet.
Okay.
So it's like going. I don't expect her to be up and around for another little bit. To be fair with you, she apparently lost a lot of fluid in what the surgeon did. I'm giving her a few liters. We'll see how it goes.
Was
But
the treatment he was giving her proper?
how do you mean?
Was it helping, or was it just a band-aid?
I think that she's only been getting Band-Aids for a very long time.
But you think you can give her more of a permanent cure without taking her power away? Because I know if my powers went away, or if I only had me, I don't know how I'd take that so well.
Well, let me tell it to you the way I said it previously. It's my hope, my honest hope, that we can give an effective treatment without having to change her physiology too much. That being the case, if her powers are working against her, there may be no other alternative. But for that to be the case, we need to make certain that whatever we do treats the problem. And I'm not one to treat somebody without their express permission. I am a doctor. However, until we have that moment where we can have that communication, I'm not as certain that I can give you an adequate answer as to how the treatments would work. I can tell you what I've seen. I think the man was giving her a combination of tricetylin 65, which is a weird formula which is used for the suppression of certain types of metapower. Tricetylin is not something I would recommend long-term use. I think he was filtering it and selling it to her, and I think if you honestly ask me, that was probably giving her temporary relief while at the same time making the problem worse.
It's not unbelievable based on where she was getting her help.
Yes, it was very rudimentary.
Between myself and a good associate of mine named Joe Tungsten, Joe's probably the greatest mind when it comes to metagenetics in the world. We could probably work.
around?
Huh?
Is he still around?
Oh yeah, I just talked to him. I talked to him before you came back. I thought we might need to pick his brain. Joe's a fine.
Like come over or something?
Well, I can't call on him right now, but when he's free, I'm going to send him my update notes, and he's going to tell me what he thinks we should do. He's going to be my second opinion, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Well, in the short term,
I believe we can form an effective treatment for her. I do believe that. I believe it's very capable that we can do this.
okay.
I also,
Well, what about us, sir? We just wait until we find out what she has.
well, no. He stops and he turns the room a couple of times and he looks out. I wouldn't ask, but you've proven that you're capable. I could use your help for something else.
Okay.
You see, when things went bad, we lost a member named Rula the Jungle Girl. What was done to her was horrific. I've not, for a while, we allowed an associate of ours to take custody of her because she was of the situation. But Rula disappeared about 15 years ago, along with her husband.
Who's that?
A fellow by the name of Alan Astor. He was a Federal Bureau of Investigative Special Agent. What had happened was the fact that Rula had been, when Jack Ransom opened the book, and before I go any further, I have to ask a refreshment from the players. You guys had already heard about this part, right? He already told you about the book?
Yes.
Yeah.
When he
The magical book that caused issues like the day before.
Couldn't be opened, but was opened. And
Right. Rula was the closest thing to that time I'd ever met to being a god. She was the queen of the primal world. She said that the primal fire burned inside of her. Jack Ransom stripped that fire out of her. It left her blank.
Powerless.
It wasn't powerless. She maintained some of her abilities, but she had no mental presence. She had to relearn everything. And a friend of ours, an associate who was a mystic, because Marvolo had lost his ability, had agreed to help her. And she effectively had to learn to be a whole new person. And while she was there, she fell in with another supergroup. She wasn't a member, she was just an associate. And their FBI liaison and Rula had fallen in love and married. 15 years ago, this person who Rula had become disappeared, and so did her husband. And we heard nothing about them for a couple of years.
Are they living?
But about 5 years ago, well, 5 years after that, 2 children showed up to this supergroup. They were rescued, and they said they were the daughters of the FBI agent, my old friend. They had no memory past a certain point. Not terribly long ago, that government program I told you about released another person from it. She turned out to be a genetic match for the 2 children. Between the time my friend... Huh?
So you think that's your friend, the one?
Rula.
Well, I think between the time that my friend disappeared and between that and now, Rula had disappeared with her husband, had a number of children, and remains missing from her children. They don't know where she's at.
when you say, I apologize, I'm not an expert in such things. When you say genetic match, you mean as a child or as a clone, or what is actually?
She is a child of Rula.
Okay.
I don't understand everything about Rula. I really don't. But she disappeared. And no one knows where she is. Contacts that I had within every level of most of the governments that were friendly, within different organizations, even some contacts that weren't. There's no record of what's happened to her. There's a file that was run, but the origin point of that file is lost, and nobody understands the specifics.
Is there like a different language to the thing, maybe?
Well, I think it's who it was operated from. An operation group within the government that dealt with not so friendly things.
Well, what was the name of the super group that she became?
They are called the New Guard. They're based out of New Thebes, Massachusetts.
What is with Massachusetts?
No
What do you
idea.
mean? That might be a bad place to start.
Well, I could tell you what I could do. She's going to be out for a little while, maybe a couple of hours, no more than 12. I can stay here, and when she comes up, we can talk about the treatment options, and I can work her unique legal problems from where I can. If you're willing to take this investigation up, if you're willing to help me put these pieces in place, I think it helps all of us, and it restores a certain level of repairing the damage that was done to us.
But do you think that has something to do with Ramsey?
I think Jack Ransom, he's the one that's
Ransom, sorry.
Yeah, I think Jack Ransom very much plays into this. Jack Ransom made several undue overtures to Ruma. He turned his godlike power on her and stripped her of her divinity effectively. I think maybe Ransom, I think that is connected strongly, but I couldn't tell you more than a hunch why that is. I can tell you that the government agency in question, the one that's going to have to talk to about Chiller, they're the ones that supplied me the file that they had been running an operations file on Rula in her altered state. I asked friends of mine in the Federal Bureau if they'd ever heard of the agent, and he went missing 15 years ago. The New Guard might have more information, but I haven't really had the opportunity to talk to them. And to be fair, I was trying to pursue it from a perspective of what I knew. Maybe I was afraid to find out the truth. I don't know. But if you're going to do this, I think it ties in directly, and I think it's important, and I do believe it's connected. I believe all of this is connected. I just don't know how. Will you help me?
I'm down.
Well, then we should talk about Massachusetts.
No, please. No, thank you.
We have to talk about it.
Yeah, Devil.
I'm.
Take us to Massachusetts.
I know.
So
It was a joke. I was joking around.
The thing about the New Guard is they're based out of a location that unless you've been there, you won't be able to find it.
Oh, like here.
Well, this is just really well hidden. That's something else entirely. But I have a contact person. And if you're going to go up there, or even if you're not, I thought Mr. Thought certainly has the speed working for him. Son, are you aware you're moving faster than Mach 2 on land?
Is that a bad? Should I not be doing that?
No, I'm just impressed. I know a fellow named Thunderbolt back in World War II, and he could run really fast. You probably could. I've only seen 2 or 3 other people in my life who moved as fast as you. And one of them was supposedly the son of Mercury.
the god.
There were a lot of those in the 40s. A lot of them.
But I bet you bet you Dog can get faster and faster as he goes.
Don't mind asking you, son, and you're not well. You don't have to tell me anything about how old are you?
21, 22.
You haven't even hit your main stride yet. I'd like to see if you're up for it. Perform a few tests just to see how fast your upper limits are.
Meaning what kind of test? Just like running around on a treadmill?
Something like that, yes. I'd probably put a sensor on you and have you run as fast as you can around in a circle.
Sure, I'd be okay with that. We might get a little dizzy, but sure.
Well, let me give you a better tour of the base. And with that, he shows you the sanctum. There's a trophy room. There's an athletics area. There's a laboratory and a medical place where you've already seen. There's a kitchenette. There are rooms. We built originally a number of these. Not everyone used them. The captain stayed here when he was in this part of the world, Rula stayed here because she didn't really care to go anywhere else, and we had to convince her certain things. I would ask you not to go in those rooms. Those were the old society quarters, and I haven't really had the heart to go in there and clean them up. But you're welcome to stay here. It's got hot water, power cells, and continue for another 160 years before they have to be switched out.
I mean, I kind of have a job to go back to.
Is this a job you want?
No, but it's. I mean, until you hit the big league, superheroing doesn't pay a ton. I don't know if
How
you
much
know.
are you making a year, son?
Well, I mean, it's in New York City, so it's $80,000, but it doesn't go as far as you'd think.
Son, would you say your job is going to basically interfere with your ability to be a hero? Is that what you want?
Well, I mean, if I was going to be like a big time superhero, of course not. But just the little stuff.
Well, how about we touch into the society's trust?
I mean, I don't need to be rich or anything.
Well, I could pay you a living wage out of my own. I don't feel right for someone to have to do two things. And if you're worried about a job, that bothers me. It bothers me because I don't think that's what you want to do. And it's clear that Kate has other plans for you.
You think I'm cut out for the big leagues?
I think all of you are.
I mean,
But
I've been one God.
I really think that play our cards right. We might be the big league.
Well, you definitely be up there. Clifford's putting his thumb on you right now. That means he sees something. But I can't have you basically. That just bothers me. You're worried about money, and that's what it's really a concern. You're working a job for money. We can pay you at least $120,000 just to be fun.
I mean,
Plus full medical.
that's great. It's. I mean, the money's amazing. It's really not.
Do you like your job?
Sorry, what?
Do you like your job?
Not. I mean, no.
And this is what you want to do is be thought?
Yeah.
Darrow shakes his head like an old man who's seen everything sort of way, and he goes, "We'll work out the details."
Assuming that deal
Wow.
will for all of us.
Yes, absolutely. Whatever you need. It's with my power, and I should remind you that I do own a nonprofit, and I'm fairly wealthy.
Yes.
Plus, there's the society's trust, which hasn't been touched. It's just been accumulating interest for the last 35 years.
I have
Nah.
another question.
The reason I wanted to bring you down here was to show you something else.
Well, but you want to evaluate Speedy Pants over here. That's something you'd like to do for all four of us.
At some point, I think if you have questions, we might find the answers together. I'm not going to force anything on anything. That would be wrong. But if you have questions, we can try to answer them together. For instance, that young man's regeneration is quite unique. Were you born with that ability, son?
Yes, I was. I think I was. But I think when I got shot by I forgot his name.
Pinpoint?
Pinpoint. I think that's when they started to trigger.
I've been thinking about that since you told me John Clark shot you and you lived.
Mm-hmm.
He shot you and you lived.
Yeah, and I lived it.
He's here right now.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a miss. I've never known him to hit anybody that lived. He doesn't miss.
Yeah.
I could use some resources there too. I don't want to sound like I'm coming out of offering you all solutions. I can help. I'd be glad to
Yeah.
help. Even if you weren't willing to help me, I'm more than willing to help you.
yeah, I would like to see what I could do better with my powers. See what else I could do, like to help out people.
Well, I can tell you medically what's going on. I was never really good at the training, but I certainly think we can find those answers together if you're up for it.
Yeah, I'm up for it.
And as far as your living expenses, we didn't. The trust was set up so that the members wouldn't have to worry about paying for certain things.
Yeah.
To
I
be
think
fair,
I'm gonna try to move all my stuff out of my other place into here in my room area. Where I'm gonna have one.
I don't see a problem with that. It's good to see the old girl get some use.
Mhm.
But let me show you what I wanted you to see. Take you
Yep.
into a room and you see it looks like a hangar, and there are parts of aircraft, and there's a weird shaped crescent-shaped craft that's hanging on struts. There she is. Advanced prototype. Race Riley and Dr. Fidor built her to be the fastest thing in the air. Never quite got up to the way we thought. Hasn't had anyone in her for almost 55 years. But I guarantee you she works. And not only does she work, she's one of the sleekest things you'll ever see.
What does it look like?
It's a crescent-shaped vehicle. Here, I'll draw it real quick. It's a sketch.
Trying to say like maybe Guardians of the Galaxy a little bit, maybe.
Not quite like that, because that's more of like a weird.
V shape kind of.
Yeah, I'll show you kind of a rough idea.
Mhm.
A beacon.
That's real rough.
Okay.
It's got winglets that come out like a crescent-shaped moon. It's called the Moon Glider. It's an advanced prototype. It almost works well.
And what do you need to know to fly that thing?
Well, do you know how to fly a plane?
Not inherently.
I kind of know how to fly a helicopter a little bit, I think.
Well, we have a trainer. I have to tell you something. Not everybody we know flew. It was nice to be able to have something that was simple to learn, easy to use, and would respond like a dream. Even if you're not able to fly very well, if you have some experience, you might be able to fly it. There are a few things you need to know about the Moon Glider, though. Launching can be a bit difficult, so you want to use the autopilot feature. It has no weaponry, and it does pressurize at a certain altitude. So don't try to knock the canopy off.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do this, then you probably need something that can take you to the places you need to go. Moon Glider can do that. Race and Fidor built this thing to last. The finest pilot I've ever known, the smartest man I've ever known. I think she could have given Race's old Starhawk a run for the money. She'll get you to where you need to go anywhere in the city, in the world. Totally circle and come back without a problem.
Mhm.
Feel like if you're going to do this, you should probably have that. Communicators.
I'm not wearing a suit, I'll tell you that. Mr. Wall.
I never did. Fidor was
I'm the one that's wearing a suit right now too.
Race never wore one. I think the only person I ever knew that wore a costume was Captain Crossbones. But he wore a full body costume, and it scared the hell out of people if you saw him at night. I think that's maybe why he did it.
Like me?
No, you're scary. Don't take what I'm about to say wrong. But you don't go out to actually terrify your opponents to the point where you do permanent psychological damage to them.
Nope.
What do you think of all of this?
But now you've given.
Huh?
What's that?
I said, what do you think of all this beacon?
Again, I welcome the benefits, but I think we need to earn them. I think we should be headed to Massachusetts. Though I don't know how to fly either.
Nah. I know a tiny bit.
about you thought you ever fought a plane before.
At about that point, a little beeping goes off on his watch. Well, why don't we go talk to Miss Chiller?
I think we need Riley.
I mean, Riley would be great, but I think we need to talk with her regardless.
Well, she's awake now.
But I think we should have Riley with us then.
She's always here. This good of it.
Mm-hmm. And
I agree that she'll be the form that I have when I enter the room.
Well, if you'll follow me then.
And as we are walking down, I'm talking to Thon and asking him, you might help me out with taking some of my stuff out of my place and moving into where I live in for right now?
Are you asking us to help you move?
No, I'm asking Thought to help me out.
I mean, I can't carry a whole lot, but I can.
I know, I'm saying, like, you carry the light stuff, and I get the heavy ones, mostly.
Sure. And if we've got some free time.
Yeah, I'm saying when we have, like, free time and all that.
Sure.
He looks behind you, and as we're walking, she does, he does transform into her. And she just looks back. She looks back.
Very sometimes.
At this moment, you are very interested in moving your stuff.
What?
Priorities, boy.
I am. That was gonna get away from me as soon as I forget, so I had to get it out of my chest.
Right.
Well,
And assuming we arrive to our destination.
yeah, absolutely. You get back down to the lab. You enter into it. You see Chiller is sitting up. Why am I handcuffed? Not bad. There are no handcuffs. Those are restraining cuffs. You were thrashing. He walks over and he opens them. Feel better? Where am I? Among friends.
I look at Syndicate, whatever form it is at this time.
Yeah, he looks like Riley.
Can you be doing the talking?
Yeah, so we rescued you, Sue.
Rest.
Yes, from the surgeon. This here is well, you saw the four of us at the club, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Well, this is Ulysses Darrow. Ever heard of him?
I know who he is. I've heard of him.
Well, I'm going to be very honest with you. I think the syndicate either was there to eliminate you or to eliminate us, and from the way in which Tarmac, do you know him?
Yeah, I know Tarmac.
It seems as if he was maybe going to eliminate the building in which you were in. Surgeon's abodes, per se. And what about Bloodsport? You know him, right?
She stops when you say that.
Well, my dear, he was there. He was there, and I have a very good faith from me that he was there to eliminate you, my dear.
Well, fuck.
Yeah, well, fuck's a good answer right now. So, again, as we spoke at the bar,
What the hell
It's
are
not,
these things on my head? It's a sensor. It monitors your blood pressure and vitals.
Mr. Darrow thinks he can help you permanently. And not get that shit he was pumping into at the surgeon. I think I'll let Mr. Darrow take over at this point.
Anne Marie. She stops and looks at him. You're in a lot of trouble. Not with us. But there are people looking for you.
I think
Powers
they
are
did.
going beyond your ability to grow. We want to help you, but we also need to know what you know. You can't keep going the rate you're going. You know this. These people risk their lives to save you.
For you, Chiller. For you. Because I believe we believe that you may have information against that Ramsey guy. And we also
Fellow
think,
Ransom?
yeah, Ransom, sorry. I don't know why I keep calling him Ramsey. It's just the name that pops in my head. But what do you know about Jack Ransom?
Not much. He's some old dude that the senior partners gave carte blanche to. He's like 1,000 years old.
Is he that old? Mr. Darrow?
No. Okay, he's like 70. More like 95, but keep going. They gave him pretty much whatever he came in to ask for. He showed up. It was just supposed to be a simple job. And I told him I needed the cash. But they didn't want me, and they didn't want the others. They wanted Art. They wanted somebody flashing. Art told them flat out, it's going to get me arrested. And they said that's exactly what they wanted. They wanted something big. They needed something big, and not to worry about it. Down the road, they pay it back.
Well, now, you want to pay him back? I paid him back by putting him in the hole in Arizona. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Maxim. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but that didn't seem to bother him. All I know is that they've been communicating with a lot of people. It's not just talent recruitment, but the way the syndicate works, it works like a business. I mean, for God's sakes, I have an HR number.
Is that information you can share with us?
It'll probably be changed.
Well,
The point I'm trying to say is, this guy shows up out of nowhere, and he's got the blessings of everybody at the higher echelon. And when he says that he's going to need this guy to take a dive, and it's Art. Art takes no dives, but he took the dive for this guy.
oh Jesus!
I'd never even met the senior partners. If you had put me in a room with them, I could have told you who they were. They never communicated with me. The point of it is that they were going to have the meeting. They put this guy at the top of their list, and I don't know who the hell this old man was. All I know is he was given everything he asked for, and then some.
I look at Darrow. Does that make sense to you, Mr. Darrow?
No, not a bit. Jack never had that kind of intelligence or pull. Tell us about the senior partners. There's just a handful of them. They're called the senior partners because they were the founders of the feast, so to speak. They're the firsts. They maintain kind of a quiet control. Do they engage? No, they're like 95 years old.
But you said you don't even know who they are.
I didn't.
Didn't means that you may now.
I was at the club one night. I didn't have anything to do. Not like I could go out dancing or anything like that. They got real. There was a bunch of old guys at McCready's, and I thought that was like old Homes Week. It happens. Old villains kind of show up to kind of relive their glory days or something. But these guys, they were being treated like VIPs. There was this one old guy. I've seen him before. I know who he was. I was gonna fuck with that.
Who was that? Who was that, sweetie?
She's like looking around. Dr.
It's
Niles Todd.
Come again.
Dr. Niles Todd. And
Hmm.
Darrow actually takes a step back. Dr.
Yeah.
Dr.
She,
Death said. He was there, and I mean, he was old, but I knew who he was. I'd seen the pictures. And they're all together. They're having dinner, like they're having in McCready's, which is not the best place. Like they're having catered dinner with servants and candles. And that old dude that you were talking about, Ransom, was there. Todd was there. And a guy I work with occasionally, or I used to work with, says, "Hey, it's pretty sweet days, isn't it?" And I said, "What the hell do you mean?" And he said, "Don't you see what this is? I thought you were part of this. I thought you were part of the syndicate. There's your central leadership." I said, "Those old guys?" He said, "Yeah." And then Niles Todd, there's no way he could have heard us. No way. But he looked over at me and he smiled. He smiled at me politely. And I've never been scared of anything so much in my life. But this old guy scared the hell out of me. And they were all together, and they all kind of looked around the room at the same time. And the old dude you're looking for, whatever his name is, Bronson, Charles Bronson, whatever. The
Ransom.
fact is, he had all this documentation and all this stuff, and there were people there, and they were talking, and there were people who don't ever come to McCready's that were there. I mean, this was some pretty scary. This was heavy stuff, and I just was there having drinks, and then
And how long ago was this?
back before the end of the year, the end of November, beginning of December. It's the middle of January now, so about a month, maybe.
And that's the first time you've seen Ransom.
That was the first time I ever saw him. Yeah,
And that's also the last time you've seen that gathering at the club.
I'd never seen those old guys there before, and I hadn't seen them since. But they were being treated like they owned the place. The
I
mater,
think they have. They do.
there were a few people that didn't care about them, and it was clear that those villains were either small timers and they were heavy hitters. But they were clearly showing something, and Ransom was there. And after that, I started getting more work. A little more dangerous work, but I got more work.
I look at Daryl and say, you think he got all that info from when he was with you guys, maybe?
Ulysses Darrow's face, you can tell the muscles in his face are tight. Tell he's clenching his teeth.
Mm-hmm.
I think he probably got a lot of info from us, yes. I need to ask this, Schiller. Who else was in the club that you recognized?
What was the last part of that question, Mark?
Darrow looks very serious. He looks Chiller. Who else at the club did you recognize that night?
Oh, you recognize him. Okay.
I told you. No, you told us who you saw. Who else did you recognize that night? There was just some badness going on that night. There were a lot of people I saw that night that normally wouldn't be in the club.
What about your contact at the company, as you called it? Was he there?
Well, my coworker, the guy who I worked with before, was there. They had it looked like almost that there were a lot of people there that were waiting for something, and I didn't know. I was just having drinks. With that, Darrow goes over, punches something up, holds up a symbol, what looks like to be a very stylized dragon, Eastern style. Anybody wear this symbol there? Chiller is not a bad bluffer. Even Beacon sees it.
Let me roll for that.
Okay, you do that.
Carry on.
This is like the best one I think of this so far.
Yep.
When she looks back up, he goes, and this was that there too, and he holds up another thing out of a box that he pulled out of the wall, and she looks at it and she just nods. That is the symbol of the Black Dragon Society. They are a criminal group that have been operating underneath the auspices of the Scarlet Brotherhood for the better part of 450 years in the South Pacific. Captain Crossbones ran across them so many times they were mortal enemies. So the enemies of one of our older members was at this club. Holds the lion up. That is the symbol of Bela Jot. Bela Jot is the undisputed crime lord of Tibet, Central China, and India.
Wait. Are you telling us that the leaders of the crime syndicates of the world were in that bar that night?
No, there were a few that weren't, she says. Darrow basically looks up, looks at each of you. No, but they are enemies of the Distinguished Society. Was there anyone else that you saw that you didn't really recognize? She stops. There was this woman, but I couldn't tell what she looked like. She wore armor. I mean, all over. Like, we're talking about Darth Vader-ish. You know, the helmet. It was all stylized. It was purple and it was black. They deferred to her a lot. I've heard of her. So Niles Todd had a dinner. Jack Ransom was there. Representatives of the crime lords were there, and a bunch of other people that you didn't expect to see. Yeah, and it just was kind of weird.
Darrow,
Yeah.
do you think we can get the cameras of the that night at Montgomery's maybe?
I doubt we'll find McCready's bar again. I don't think they film it. I think that's one of the reasons villains know this. Your life is an extraordinary danger, Miss Chiller. Your life, they are going to try to kill you in every way they can.
I believe they tried to today.
But they won't next time, they won't hire people that aren't willing to kill her. Besides Stormlord, his reputation isn't a murderer, and neither is Tarmax.
But I believe Bloodsport is, isn't he?
He's on the list.
You shuddered, Chiller, when I said that.
Huh? There's a list that the United that are the top most wanted people they'd like to get back into incarceration. He's on that list.
Do we have the list?
Oh, you can get it offline.
Hmm.
Well, Miss Chiller, we're going to help you every way we can, but I think what we need to do next is we need to pay a visit to a government agency to get more information as to what they know. Have you ever heard of Project Archangel? Looks around the room.
Narrow percentage, you see?
Yeah, if you want.
I want to try to do that. I want to do something. I want to sing. What? Okay. So I got 09.
So okay, kind of goes pale.
What'd you roll?
I didn't roll anything.
Okay.
Thinking about the question.
I got 9.
Project Archangel.
I'm going to interrupt.
Yeah.
Darrow,
Yes.
I don't know why this didn't strike one of us earlier. You said that, God, now I can't remember his name. Thanks, Corey.
Ransom.
Jack Ransom.
Family or something.
You said that Ransom was a pseudo member,
Correct.
so he knows exactly where this place is.
You see, that's the ironic part. My good friend Marvelo the Magician cast spells on this place. When we booted him out of here, that information was lost to him.
Assuming he's a normal person and not.
He was when he was booted out of here.
So he
Sure of
shouldn't
that?
have been in it.
Lingering effects from his encounter with his home.
I don't
All right.
know. I don't know if that's possible or not, but Maria tracks everyone that comes into the headquarters or leaves. And the only person who came into this headquarters before I did was me.
I'm just wondering if he didn't have a reason to come in, but that's fine.
No,
Set it
that's a
aside.
good idea.
Hey, Mark, I rolled a 69.
You've heard about Project Archangel. And this is the agency that will reform villains, but they used to be before they took their new turn, it used to be kind of a bad thing. Imagine, if you will, that it's become what it set out to do, a reformation tool. Prior to that, it was like the Suicide Squad.
Okay.
Something happened. You're not really sure of the details, but there was a change in leadership at that level, and a new leadership came in, and they took on the idea that reformation should be actually what it sets out to do, and we shouldn't be using these people to do terrible bad things.
Not when they can find a group like us. I really think that maybe we should, who does she have to report to? Or who do we have to bring her into? Is it Deckard?
No. We don't need to involve Deckard any more than we absolutely have to.
He's kind of asked us to involve him in anything that we do.
I understand that, but I think I think Deckard's hunting for something. And I'm not saying we shouldn't try to help him. I'm just saying that we shouldn't bring them involved, because they will actually get involved in a way we may lose our only chance to find out what's happening and stop it.
So while his goals are not necessarily bad, they just may not conform with exactly with ours.
Have you ever put a bigger screw in a smaller hole and then try to put that screw that fit there back?
Yeah.
It's the same principle. If Deckard is involved, that means the UN super team is involved. If they get officially involved, that means they're going to come in very loudly.
Yeah, we've seen what they do.
The point of it is that I don't want necessarily for that to happen, not knowing what happened to Rula, not knowing why our greatest enemies were having dinner together, not knowing why Jack Ransom, who should be dead, showed back up. I know that may sound counterproductive. To me, there's more going on here, and I would like to know what it is before we bring it into.
Deckard.
Yeah, but I can tell.
Wait, are we still in the room with Chiller?
Huh?
Yeah.
I kind of look at Chiller.
Yep.
But don't address her directly. I just want to make sure that I'm clear. The ARC was hired ostensibly to kidnap Ransom. Do I remember that? Understand that correctly?
That's what I thought they said. They were to make a big production of it.
Right, but you wanted that job at some point, right?
I needed the money.
You wanted a job, whatever it happened to be.
Yeah.
And the best you understood it, it was to kidnap ransom.
That's what I understood it to be at the time.
Sounds like a ruse. Yeah. Sounds like they were trying to have a high-profile villain take an old man for no apparent reason.
It does sound like that.
I mean, at some point, I mean, we won't solve that right now, but I think we all should be trying to figure out why that benefits anyone. I can understand if there was a specific villain that they wanted to get into this high security prison, that would be one thing. It doesn't sound like it was arc specific. Just trying to figure out what their end game is. That might help us at some point.
Agreed.
I think you're onto something there.
And with that, Darrow says there's something else. Even if he knew how to get back here, he could never enter the headquarters again.
To Chiller, he says it?
He says it to you. He talks about, yeah, he goes, simply put. Well, let me show you. It's easier if I show you. He goes over to the camera, and he goes over to a console and punches up, and you see two stone statues that are recessed as part of the column during that long hallway you walk down. Marvolo collected those. If someone not pure of heart enters the headquarters, someone of a bad nature or someone that's been told, they'll kill it. They'll suspend them. They'll do something. I don't know exactly. Well, I've never seen them work. You have to have a...
That didn't happen to her.
No, because we're offering her help and comfort.
I think that says something, Chiller.
Chiller just sort of looks down at her hands. The fact is, I remember that even though Marvolo no longer had his skill, the statues were specifically told that Jack Ransom could never enter this place again. In fact, no one who has dark thoughts should be able to enter this place. Whatever they want, they still want it. They're going to kill you. He looks at Chiller. They're going to kill you to get that information.
But we're not going to let that happen.
In that case, then I would strongly suggest I need to make a phone call to an old friend. But I think in the interim, before you do anything else, you should go have a talk with Bryant Dixon. I'll set up the conversation.
Is that for the four of us?
I think it'd be safer to travel in numbers right now. And Mr. Thought, I'm going to make sure that you don't have to go back to a terrible job. It bothers me that someone has to do that sort of thing. They have gifts that they can share with the world. You don't like this job, this isn't something you want to do.
No, not really.
Also, did you make that suit yourself?
I mean, my mom helped me with it mostly.
Well, you know, I developed several polymers for more lightweight space materials. They might be a little bit more breathable while you're running.
May not catch on fire, maybe.
If you're,
I haven't had a fire yet.
well, we'll have to see how your speed works.
I really would like to see how his speed works too.
But that can be another time. You go speak with Brian Dixon. He'll give you every bit of information that Project Archangel has at this moment. I'm almost certain that after I get done talking to my old friend, he'll be more than cooperative. I'll set the meeting up. And maybe we can find out what's really going on before. And then we could go to Deckard once we have a better idea of what's happening. Fair enough?
Mm-hmm.
Good to me.
In the interim, if you have any needs, don't be afraid to ask me. I'm not without resources, and frankly, I hate being idle. I'll work on Chiller's problem. Miss Chiller, I think we have a good chance of at least improving your quality of life. The way she looks up is almost childlike, really.
She's like happy and all that. Like,
She's not really even happy. You just see it in her eyes. It's the first time anyone's actually offered to improve her quality of life. And I think about there, if it's all right, we'll cut off now.
No, that's perfect.
yep.
Works for me.
Have we made a decision about next Tuesday with Halloween?
Oh yeah, I forgot it was Halloween.
Yeah, but that's a D&D night, Jack. So it doesn't.
Yeah.
All right, hey, Mr. Flag. It's always a
I know, I
pleasure.
took my pills.
Put pills in your face, and then you need to start relaxing and going to bed.
I got it.
now.
That's a cute
Bye, Jackson. I can't make a guarantee that I am available as yet. I probably will be, but there's a chance I will not. That's the best I can offer right now.
No, that's perfectly fine. I just thought I'd ask while I was thinking about it. If nothing more,
Right, Jack, Flag.
I will see everybody and hopefully somebody for
So
Halloween.
much fun today.
That's cool, man.
I
All
can't believe I was so stuffy for that long time.
Yeah,
All
it
I'm
was
going to
cool.
tell you is, don't worry. She'll keep baking you as many wheat cakes as you can possibly eat.
Nice.
Not what you want. She'll just keep making them for you.
Yeah.
Boxes.
It's the all-you-can-eat buffet, not the all-you-care-to-eat buffet.
Yeah, it's the all you can eat, not
Exactly.
security.
But I thought when Syndicate he did his telekinesis,
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna find myself. So I was like, oh crap, he's gonna find me. And he's like,
Oh, I knew you were there.
you didn't tell anybody else.
Well, why would I give you up?
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Fellas, always
it-
a pleasure.
it is a pleasure. And
Andy, who are you rooting for right now for the
Astros.
Astros? Well, I certainly hope, as much as I have my love for other things, that you have a great game to watch.
It could be better, but
I think it's going absolutely fine.
Oh wait,
Now that everyone has established that they're pulling for the Astros, I think we will play next week. Only for about 5 minutes is all that you need.
Oh,
I am not committed one way or another. However, I will be committed to an insane asylum shortly. So I better get off and actually talk to Crystal for a bit. So
Yeah, it's good
Yep.
plan.
All right.
See you guys later.
good night, all.
all right. I'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.